Well, as we've been discussing, it seems that Joe Biden has been in virtual hiding since he announced on his Twitter account that he wouldn't be running in the presidential race. This has sparked questions about his willingness to drop out. And there's now a spotlight on Biden's health and what the Democrats and his close allies, and none more than Kamala Harris, did to cover up and mask his decline. Well, I spoke to former senior advisor in the Bush and Trump administrations, Christian Whiton, about all of this a bit earlier. Christian, thank you so much for your time. We're seeing more details in newspaper reports of Biden's mental incoherence at meetings as far back as 2021, less than a year after he was elected president. Yet the White House claimed this was fake news and TV commentators covered up for him. Do you think voters were seriously misled?
I think they were, although I think they've come to expect this from a media that is very biased. Basically, this re-election, which has been cast as a rematch for some time, that a lot of the media, the left-wing media in the United States and all of the president's enablers basically thought they had to do whatever was necessary to defeat Donald Trump's potential resurgence. And if that included misleading the people and also forestalling a competitive Democratic nomination process that would have allowed voters to choose whether or not Democratic voters to choose whether or not Biden was senile or competent. That was all pushed aside. I think voters are angry.
Yeah, that's such a good point. There's no returning to the primaries, and Kamala Harris is now all but the nominee. It means there's no democratic process, no chance for delegates to have their say, and there's no opportunity for other potential nominees to come forward.
It is. It's a real railroading. You'll notice that one voice that has held back so far is former President Obama. Everyone else, sort of among major figures, most other people have endorsed Harris. And I think Obama is just holding back in case there is any resistance to this coronation that's going to take place in under a month at the Democrat convention in Chicago. So, really the Democrats ought to have had a conversation and a debate and a vote over the trajectory of their party, whether they're going to come back to the center, which is what Labour just did in the United Kingdom and won, or whether they're going to stay where they are, which is economics that leads to out-of-control inflation, humiliation for the United States abroad, and a very woke, culturally activist domestic policy, which is what they've ended up with without even having a vote.
Christian, why would the likes of Obama, Pelosi and others wait so long to turn on Biden? Wouldn't they have been better off giving the Democratic Party proper time to work out a successor?
I think they're terrified of what might happen. You know, I don't mean to be too quaint, but if you look at the end of the Soviet Union, when they went from Brezhnev to Gromyko to Chernenko, people who were clearly deep into their dotage, and it was this fear of what a reformer, of what a new fresh face might bring. And it also means a loss of power for them, a loss of ability to put their people into powerful jobs or get lucrative campaign jobs that can pay for people. So given the choice of opening up a can of worms and a future that's uncertain, or going with someone they know and they frankly could control, they tried to go the method of control.
Joe Biden today phoned into Kamala Harris's campaign event, yet he hasn't appeared in person. There was just a statement released on his Twitter account. Do you find this behaviour highly unusual for a president?
Very unusual for a president. He's not a young man, and he does have COVID. On the other hand, his own physician put in writing today for his press secretary that he's recovering very well, that all of his symptoms have pretty much cleared up, which raises the question, why isn't he back in Washington? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel is coming, and the two men don't like each other, but nonetheless, we are two important allies, and he should be in Washington to receive him in addition to his campaign duties. So I think probably Biden is very disappointed and very irritated at what's happened. He probably views this as a betrayal by those who are closest to him in the party.
We also saw the head of the Secret Service facing questioning today. Do you think she gave any adequate explanation over the major security failures that led to Trump almost being assassinated?
No, there are still way too many questions. The answers that have been given are duplicitous or misleading, saying that this was a sloped roof. One of the Republican congressmen who's 70 years old got up and was walking around the roof. It's a very mild slope, and he joked that he could be up there all day. She said that the structure was outside of the perimeter. That's absurd to anyone who's ever fired a rifle, whether you're a good shot or not. A huge breakdown. One of the most acrimonious hearings I've seen since the impeachment or the Iraq War on Capitol Hill. And it leads the question of what she's protecting, who she's covering up for, whether there are messages between her and the Homeland Security Secretary who oversees her department that are, say, don't give Trump adequate security. There's more than we're being allowed to see. I think the truth will come out, but it certainly hasn't come out so far.
Christian, just finally, if Democratic donors, political advisors and members of Congress came to the conclusion that Joe Biden wasn't fit to serve another term as president, well, what makes him fit to remain in the role now?
Really nothing does, unless he could say, well, he's perfectly fit now. He just didn't, couldn't handle another 4 years of the presidency, but he's not really saying that. And as we all saw on the stage, all of us around the world, America's friends and America's adversaries, he's clearly not someone who's competent to handle a crisis right now. I think he thinks he has to stay president. He's going to pardon his son and his brother and the rest of his family, but he can't do that until after the election. So he's not going anywhere, but I think it's probably an unwise choice for the nation's security.
Christian, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks. My pleasure. Anytime.